Hare Krishna. Welcome
Hare
to all
Krishna, Mataji,
devotees.
Dandavat Pranam.
But for now, please accept my humble obeisance Society of Lotus Street. Thank you so much for joining in. It's just 5 participants. I'll just wait for some more, let's say 1 minute, and let's see if there are more. Otherwise, we'll start. By the time, if
Mataji,
someone has any question, you can also ask.
Mataji, I have written answer for your homework question. That is Sunshine Sundays.
Yes,
And
yes,
yes,
that's
can
nice.
I read that, Mataji?
Sure, Mataji. Thank you.
Now itself? Can I?
Yes, no problem. Yeah, you can.
Okay, Mataji. Thank you very much. Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes.
Yes. In Bhagavad Gita,
I'm not able to hear you. Is it only with me or
Shri
everyone?
Bhagavan.
No, is it for me?
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Yes, now I can hear. There was some audio lag.
Shall I continue? Can I?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. The first sloka spoken by Sri Krishna Paramatma. Kutastvakashmalamidam vishame samupastitam anaryajastamasvargyam akirti. Referred Bhagavan is the ultimate in the absolute truth. In Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.11, Vadanti Tattvatva Vida Sattvam Yajnanamadvayam Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabhyate. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
So just a minute, Mataji.
Okay.
I just had a question. Basically the homework was to understand the concept and explain.
Yes, I'm going
Yeah.
for that, Mataji. Yes,
Yes,
I will.
yes.
Taking Bhagavan, I will go to that also, Mataji. First, can I continue?
Yes, Mataji. If we can also try to finish quickly because we have
Okay.
other verses also.
Okay, I will read only important points.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Oh,
Yes,
okay,
thank you,
okay.
Mataji.
The learned transcendentalists who know the absolute life is both subject and object, and there is no qualitative difference. Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. Sunshine is compared to Brahman, sun surface, Paramatma, sun planet itself to Bhagavan. The absolute truth is realized in 3 phases of understanding by the know. Such phases of the absolute truth are expressed as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. These 3 divine aspects can be explained by the example of the sun, which also has 3 different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the one who understands the sun surface is further advanced, and one who can enter into
Yes, the
ordinary
voice.
students who are satisfied.
Actually,
There
the
is a
voice is breaking
Yeah.
in between. Yes. So, Mataji, I got your point that you're
Is
reading the
it?
purport
Okay.
that Prabhupada is explaining on the sunshine, sun rays, and the sun planet, right?
And the last is the Supreme Personality who possesses all riches, all strength, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge is called Bhagavan.
Right. Thank you so much, Mataji, that you remembered to check that homework and you have also gone through it properly. So thank you so much. First, we'll start with prayers. I can see
Okay.
we have good number of devotees who have joined in.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Just a minute. Just give me a minute. Just a minute. Yeah, I'm so sorry. There was some disturbance. Okay, let's start. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Mukhyante Mirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Padamiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sakhajatam Sarvanaratanathanvitam Tam Sajivam Satvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale. Sorry. मैं श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दं माधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम् Thank you so much, all devotees, for joining. I'm very grateful, very happy to serve you all. So yes, the last week that we have discussed on second chapter, first to fifth verse, and there was a homework on the sun disk, sun and sun rays, right? So basically, how do we have to understand that? So as we have seen that Uma Mataji has already understood that, and she has also read the purport on that. Anyone else would like to just explain it very quickly on what exactly it is trying to explain?
I can try, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Mataji, here in the purport, Prabhupada is telling the three divine aspects, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Three features of the absolute truth. In that, the analogy of sun, example of sun, Prabhupada is telling, the sunshine, the sun's surface, and the sun planet itself. So, one who studies the sunshine alone, he is a preliminary student. One who understands the surface, I mean, a step further, says that he can understand, is further advanced. And one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest, means is he's realized the Bhagavan, complete.
Right. So these three aspects of realizing the absolute truth,
Absolute.
whether it is one is Brahman, then comes Paramatma, and then
Yeah.
comes Bhagwan. Exactly. So like you mentioned, Mataji, that is what Srila Prabhupada is trying to explain there, that when we say Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, so here Bhagwan is basically Krishna. Krishna has been referred as Bhagwan, which also Prabhupada explains that he is full of six opulences. And why, of all the three aspects of realizing the absolute truth, Krishna is the supreme. The Bhagwan aspect of it is the supreme, that he's trying to explain it with the example of sun rays, sun disk, and sun god. So let's say if a person just sees the sun rays and thinks that this is all in all, he is on that Brahman aspect, wherein he thinks that the absolute truth is just light and nothing else. It doesn't have a form. And I, as a, basically, I will merge into it when I get liberated. So this is the lowest conception of liberation. The second comes the Paramatma aspect, wherein he realizes that Krishna, like God, is there in the heart and he's guiding us at every point of time. But that particular realization is also not complete, which is compared to the sun disk. Now the last one comes, which is sun god. So if a person knows about sun god, he will understand the sun disk and he will also understand the sun rays. So basically the Bhagavan aspect, if you understand the Bhagavan aspect of absolute truth, you will also understand the Paramatma aspect and you will also understand the Brahman aspect. But you will only want to go to the Bhagavan aspect. You will not want to get liberated in the lower states, right? So that is the explanation which Prabhupada is giving through that example. Thank you so much, Uma Mataji and Sandhu Mataji. Really appreciate the efforts. Okay, so apart from that, so what we have understood till now, that Arjun has got confused in this whole process of seeing his family members, and he is now getting confused of his duty. He is on the battlefield, he is ready to fight, and now he is getting confused, what should I do, right? So this, if we understand, this is the basic concept of, for that we have to understand the basic concept of Sambandh, Abhiday and Prayojan. So let me quickly share my screen. And let me know if you're able to see.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
It's visible, right? Yes. So initially, in the first 1 to 3 verse, Lord Krishna is basically, he's trying to chastise Arjuna, and he is disapproving his so-called compassion, right? But still, as we discussed, that it is not so easy for a person to understand his mistake. So again, Arjuna is trying to put further doubts and confusions in verses 4 to 6. He's not readily accepting. And today we will see, once he's totally confused, then he surrenders and he tells Krishna that I surrender to you as a disciple, and now you please instruct me as a guru, right? So then actually Krishna starts to speak, and he gives all the knowledge of what is matter and spirit and all the details, right? So what is happening is, initially the sambandh of the relationship between Lord Krishna and Arjun is still of friendship, right? So even when Arjun is in the first chapter, we seeing that he's giving those 4 reasons, but still he's not able to understand the instructions that Krishna is saying in the first 1 to 3 verses, right? After he is surrendering as a disciple, we will see from verse number 11, then he will actually understand what Krishna is saying. So let us understand what is the Sambandh, Abhiday, Prayojan. So I just quickly want to understand that how many of you have an idea of what it is, and how many of you, how many of you have an idea of what Sambandh, Abhiday, Prayojan is? If you can quickly raise your hands. Okay. Rohini Mataji knows, and Sudha Mataji knows. Okay. So we have 12 participants. Okay, fine. So I will quickly take it. Sindhu Mataji also knows. Okay. Yep. So basically, what is Sambandh? It is the knowledge of the identity, of your identity and the goal, what you want to achieve. So let's say, for example, I want to have an ice cream. So ice cream, eating the ice cream and getting the pleasure out of it is the prayojan, right? That is the goal, the result. But I also have to have a knowledge of my identity, right? So I want to have the ice cream. So who am I? And then knowledge of basically how you are going to get the result, right? So basically that knowledge comes in as a part of Sambandha. What comes in Abhiday is the process that we do to achieve the goal. So what process we would do, I will take up my bike, I will take up some money and I'll go to so-and-so shop. I must also know that, okay, which particular flavor of ice cream I like the most, and that I will have to ask that person, I'll have to take it, right? So that would come in the part of the process. And the goal is the result. Like I'll get the ice cream, I'll start eating and I'll get the pleasure out of it. So this is a basic thing that is applicable to each and every activity, whatever we are doing, whether it is material or spiritual, right? So everything which we do, the whole thing depends on what is the Sambandha Gyan, what are we identifying with. So if we see in an overall sense, what the scriptures do, the Vedic scriptures, they give us the Sambandh Abhiday Prayojan in this way, that they tell us what is my relationship with God, with this world, and with nature. So this is the basic Sambandha Gyan, which all the scriptures which come as part of Vedic scriptures, they will give us. This would be the Sambandha Gyan. We would identify with this. Then we will also understand that, okay, based on this particular relationship, what is the process? So as part of going back to Godhead, the Abhidheya part, the process is doing bhakti. Right? Bhakti Yoga is part of Abhidheya. And what is the result? that we are able to revive our relationship with the Lord. So we understand as part of Sambandh that my relationship with Krishna is so and so, with why I am here in this world, what is this nature actually causing, let's say the modes of nature is actually acting upon me and how they are actually controlling me. All those knowledge would be part of Sambandha, and he realizes the basic thing. Jivera Swarup hoy, Krishnera Nitya Das. So this is the Sambandha, this is the identity which we understand. Okay. So like for example, in 15.15, Krishna says, Vedesha Sarver Aham Eva Vedyo. Right? And at the end, he's saying the crux of Vedas is to know him. Right? Sarvasya Chaham Ridhi Sandhi Vishto Matta Smritir Jnanam Apohanam Cha Vedesha Sarver Aham Eva Vedyo Vedanta Krit Eva Vedeva Chaham. So he is telling that all the conclusion of Vedas is to know me, right? So this is the basic Sambandha Gyan that we understand, that I am eternal servant of Krishna. Then the process comes that when we get convinced of this identity, then we actually become serious in the process of achieving the goal. And then when we perform the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga properly in the right attitude and right consciousness, then we achieve the result of going back to Godhead, achieving Krishna Prem. So that is the Prayojan. So I told you like how Sambandh Abhiday Prayojan is applicable to every activity, whether it is material or spiritual. And through scriptures, how do we actually really identify what is our real identity, what is the actual process to follow, and what is the real goal that we really want to achieve based on this human form of life that we have got, right? So moving ahead, here what happens in second chapter, what happens with Arjun is he is not able to understand what should I do. So the whole concept of confusion is getting, why it is coming, because this particular question is not answered on what should I do. And what it depends on who do you identify yourself with. So for example, if you are a judge, let's say, and a judge, no, he's a very nice person, he knows all the rules and regulations, and he actually gives proper punishment to all the culprits, right? So now this particular judge, now this time the person who comes as a culprit in the court is his own son. Okay. And now he realizes that, oh, this is my son who is actually, he has done such so and so crime, and I will have to punish him as per the codes of the codes of the law. Now, we are not taking all those things in the exception things, that this is conflict of interest and the judge will not do the hearing for that son. All those things we are not taking. We're just understanding the situation. So now what happens is this judge has two things. One, he can identify himself with as a father of this person, or he can identify that this is a criminal and I'm the judge and I have to give him so and so punishment. To which particular role he identifies himself more, that particular role will basically decide what he's going to give as a result, right? If he identifies himself more as a father, he will try to get his son out of the situation, right? So his identity changed. His identity changed as a father at this point of time. And if he identifies himself as, whether it be a son or whoever, my relative or whoever, but my role of at this point of time is I'm a judge and I must punish the criminal. So then he will actually punish his son, right? So what we understood in this situation is the identity plays a lot of importance in what a person does, right? And when there is an identity crisis, then comes the confusion of what should I do. This same situation happened with Arjuna. He is getting confused on the Kula Dharma and the Kshatriya Dharma. So what is happening is Kula Dharma is also on the platform of bodily platform, that these are my relatives, how should I kill them? And Kshatriya Dharma is also on the bodily platform, because he is a Kshatriya, he has to perform his Kshatriya duty, he is already on the war field. But what happens is that the problems that are on the same level, if a problem is created, if you want to solve it, then you have to go on another level, right? The problems cannot be solved on the same level it got created. So here we see that both of the platforms that are there, they are on the bodily platform. So there are two types of identity basically. One is functional. So like we discussed, the judge has a functional identity of a father and a functional identity of a judge. So similarly, we also have many functional identities. Like for example, I am a daughter-in-law. I am also a person who works in an office. I am a so-and-so person who has a particular nature. These are all my functional identities. But a fundamental identity would come, which is below all of these functional identities. The functional identities might change. Let's say, for example, if a girl, let's say if there is a mother, if you ask her what is your basic functional identity, she will say I'm a mother. But some years back when she did not have a child, was she a mother? No. So her functional identity at that point of time was something else. Later it became that she became a mother. So now her functional identity changed to a mother. So functional identities might change. A cricketer might become a professor. And a student later becomes a professional. So in that way, our functional identity keeps changing. But what is the fundamental identity, which will not change and it is eternally the same? And that fundamental identity is I am the soul. I am not this body. So we see that the functional identities are based on the bodily platform and the fundamental identity is on the spiritual platform, which is on the soul level. So here as we see that both the Kula Dharma and the Kshatriya Dharma, both the dharmas are basically on the functional platform. And because there are two paths and none of it is clearly right or clearly wrong. So we also come across such situations, right? Where we don't know. This also seems to be right as well as a bit wrong. That also seems to be right and a bit wrong. So then we get confused that, okay, what should I do? Exactly, I do not know what to do. So this is called the ethical tension situation. And to solve this, first of all, we have to understand what is our fundamental identity. So this is what Krishna will give. Krishna will give this knowledge of the fundamental identity of Arjun, which is that he's the soul. And in reality, actually, Krishna says that when we understand ourselves as a soul, then in reality, our growth in knowledge begins. So why do we think that out of whole Bhagavad Gita, like Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago was also valid. It is still valid now equally, right? It has not diminished in value. How is it valid so properly? Because it is actually answering the basic question, right? It is answering which is applicable to every person, which is on the identity. And those people who say that, let's say in second chapter, that particular words comes, right? That you must do your duty and do not expect your result. That is the conclusion of Gita. So why would Krishna give the conclusion of Gita in the second chapter? just the knowledge has just begun, right? The conclusion is not coming in the second chapter, right? So that is a wrong misconception which generally the people are having. So here Krishna is starting with the basis of spiritual knowledge. And the basis of spiritual knowledge is that you're not this body, you are the soul. As easy it is to be said, it is very difficult to understand. For example, you can see that even people who are into spiritual life, let's say for 10, 20, 15, 30 years, still the realization of themselves as a soul will entirely depend upon how much Shravan they have done, how much chanting and practice of the knowledge they have done. The more we chant, the more we realize that I'm not this body, I'm the soul. And that is why it is not that easy. Even after saying this, when it comes, a very difficult storm comes in our life, we generally get bewildered because we are identifying ourselves with this body. Right. So let's say there was a particular example of a person who got a sports visa to Canada as a cricketer. So he went to Canada, he was in the cricket team. And then what happened? He once broke his hand. So once he broke the hand, he was out of the team and he could not play for the rest of his life. So his visa got cancelled and he had to come back to India. So he became very frustrated and he could not understand that what should I do? If I'm not a cricketer, then what am I? And his whole functional identity got lost, right? At that point of time, he got in touch with devotees and devotees told him this knowledge of you're not the body and soul and the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Then he became peaceful. Then he understood that even if my functional identity got destroyed, but my fundamental identity is still the same. So then he could revive himself from that situation, and then he could understand, he could get a clarity in his life, and then he could move ahead, right? So that is how we also have to understand Gita, that it is equally applicable to all of us. So let's start with the second verse. I just gave you a background of what all is happening, and now we will go through the verses. Okay, so you all can also unmute and we can read together. Na chaitat vidma katarannagariyo yadva jayema yadiva no jayeyo yaneva hadva na jijivishamas Teva sthita pramukhe dhartarashtraha. Yes, someone can also read the translation. Yes, Jikisha Mataji, would you like to?
Yes. Nor we to know which is better, conquering them or being conquered by them. The sons of Dhritarashtra, whom if we kill, we should not care to live, are now standing before us on this battlefield.
Thank you, Nisha Mataji. So here what Arjun is saying, that nor do we know which is better. Let's say he's saying that I will not fight, right? He's trying to convince Krishna that I should not kill my relatives, and it is not good. Out of compassion, out of enjoyment, like all those arguments that he has given, sinful reactions, destruction of family tradition, all of this he is giving. So, but what he's saying now is, if we do not conquer them, they are still on the battlefield, right? So what will happen if Arjun determines that we should not kill them and we should not fight, but still they are going to kill them, right? So even if he doesn't fight, they are going to kill the other Pandav brothers. So is Arjuna not attached to his other brothers, his main actual brothers, Yudhishthira Maharaj and all, Bhima and all? So of course he is attached with them also. The other part, let's say if they become the unrivaled party, right? The Kauravas became the rulers. So what will happen? Because of their unjust nature, they are anyhow going to like punish the innocent. They are going to create even more problems for the Pandavas. This is again anyhow going to happen. This was happening since so many years, right? So it's not like that if Arjun is stopping this war, he's not, if he says that I shall not fight, then they are also peaceful, and they will also say, yes, very nice, Arjuna. We are also not wanting to fight. Let's stop the war. That's not going to happen, right? They are still arrayed on the battlefield and they are ready to kill. So that is why now Arjun is showing his confusion, that even if we are not caring to live, but they are still standing before us on this battlefield, ready to fight with us. Right? So this is the confusion which last slide we discussed, right? That there are two paths and none of it is clearly right or clearly wrong. So this is the situation which Arjun is facing right now. Right? What he's saying, that if we win, then still we will not be able to enjoy without our relatives. And if we will not win, in spite of so much of bloodshed, no enjoyment guaranteed. Right? So fighting and not fighting, all of the reasons he is giving, and both are not clearly right or not clearly wrong. So that is why he becomes indecisive. He is not able to understand. And because his senses are controlled, as we have seen initially also, that he is ready to give up. He's saying that instead, even if someone gives me all the three words, I will still not be ready to fight, right? So these type of things are showing his detachment and the control of his senses. So all of this makes him eligible to get this knowledge, right? Yes, so here the same thing that we have discussed, that his intelligence got bewildered in trying to understand the implementation of dharma. right now his Kshatriya dharma is there, his Kula dharma is there, but what is more prevalent? That therefore his intelligence is getting bewildered. And then in 7th verse, he submits himself as a disciple of Krishna, seeking his guidance. So the 7th verse, 2.7, I would say that if someone who doesn't know about this, you can please go and learn this verse after the class, because this is very important. Okay. So, okay, Jigisha Mataji, you have a question?
No, Mataji, I want to say this verse because I know this verse.
Oh, sure. Yeah, definitely. Please go ahead, Mataji.
कार्पण्यदोषोपहत प्रभावा शिष्य कार्पण्यदोषोपहत प्रभावा पृच्छामि त्वं धर्मसम्मूढचेता यच्चेयशानिशितं ब्रह्मसम्मूढ
Sorry.
शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम्.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Yes. And you can also please read the translation.
Sure. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and the soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mataji. So this particular verse is finally Arjun is surrendering to Lord Krishna. Here he's saying Karpanya dosho upahat swabhavaha. Now I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. So, and first of all, if a person also wants to get a solution from someone, right, he should acknowledge that he is in a problem. Sometimes what happens, we see in material life also, we see that a person is, let's say he is in a particular situation, which is he is into a problem, but he's not acknowledging that I'm into a problem because of that ego thing, right? That why would I say that I'm into a problem? That is the reason most of the materialistic people do not think that they want a guru. They think that what's the problem? Okay, material life is such, and I can handle these problems and I can handle my life. So there's no need of a guru, right? So here we can understand, but the first sentence of Arjuna, he is submitting his weakness. He is understanding his situation to be indecisive, to be full of confusion, and he's showing up his stress, right, to Krishna. Then he becomes eligible to take the knowledge, to take the advice. Let's say if I am into a problem and if I say that I am into such and such issues, but I'm going to solve it, what will happen? So if I'm talking to Jigisha Mataji will say that, fine, go for it, right? But if I say that, no, Mataji, I have so and so problem and I really do not understand, what should I do? Then the other person would think that, yes, this is a time to give some suggestion, right? Unless and until I am acknowledging my problem, someone else will not give me a solution. Similarly, what is happening here is Arjun is understanding his situation and he's submitting that he's into a problem, and then he is taking the role of a disciple. He's saying clearly that in this condition, I'm asking you to please tell me for certain what is best for me. And now I'm your disciple, a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. So Krishna is also like Lord Krishna is not someone ordinary person, right? He will also not instruct unless and until he sees that the person is eligible to get the knowledge. So by all the initial reasons, we saw that Arjun is eligible to get the knowledge because he's detached. He's not wanting the kingdom for his own enjoyment. And he is also having compassion and qualities which is very difficult to have for a person who has done so much injustice upon you. So the level of injustices Kauravas have done on the Pandavas, still if a person is having compassion on them, then you can understand the level of the qualities of Arjuna. So all those reasons are basically also showing the eligibility of Arjuna to get this highest knowledge. And now from the next verse, we will see. And he's also giving some more reasons. So first of all, we can go into the depth of this verse because this verse is very important. By default, as we know, that the material nature is designed in a way to give stress, anxiety, confusion, lack of clarity. All these type of situations will arise for each and every being in this material world. Totally no exception, right? We will see that it is totally applicable to all of you, all of us. And why this is so? Because this is a jail. So that is why the material world is also referred to Durg. Durg means jail. And Durga, which is goddess Durga, is actually the jailer, right? So someone might say that, oh, you are saying jailer to Durga Mata. It's not like that. We have to understand the concept. The whole concept is the material world is created in a way so that the living entities can enjoy their position separate from Krishna. We were with Krishna in the spiritual world, but we did not want to serve him. The moment that we do not want to serve him, based on our enjoyment, we want to enjoy ourselves, and that is why Krishna, being a merciful parent, just like a son doesn't want to be stay with the father, stay with the mother, right? So what does the father and mothers do? They say that, okay, you can live separately, you can live happily, we all our blessings are with you, right? Similarly, Krishna creates this material world for us to enjoy, but also get suffering, because we are trying to enjoy separate from him, and we cannot enjoy separate from him. Ideally, that is the basic thing. So when we'll get suffering, when we'll get kicked off in this material world, then we'll understand our real position, and then we'll go back to him and we'll be eternally happy. So this whole concept of creating this material world is to get this realization that I am into a jail. And does a person in jail planning for outing and planning for sense gratification? No, right? If a person is in jail, he is trying to get out of the jail. So first of all, understanding that we are in jail, that is the most important thing. The second thing is trying to understand how to get out of it, right? So this is the main important thing, that why this material world is created, and that is why all of us are getting this issues of stress, anxiety, confusion, everything. And this word karpanya dosha upahat, so what Arjun is saying, I am confused because of miserly weakness. So what is kripana? What is ignorant? That is basically a person who is ignorant and foolish. Ignorant of what? He is not having a knowledge of himself, of God, the connection between him and God, and how to reach back to God. In this particular matter, basically Arjun is playing the role in that pastime, but this particular position is for all of us, right? Arjun is anyhow a liberated person, but because of the Yog Maya potency, he's forgetting and he's becoming bewildered. So that is our position of being ignorant and foolish, right? And then what a Kripana does is he thinks that his body is all in all, his family is all in all, his material connections, his all the things related to his body is all in all, and apart from it there is no connection or there is no want to know about the Lord, right? So this is called kripana. And the ultimate solution of all these material problems that we are having is we must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Someone might say that even for us, let's say if someone gives me a Bhagavad Gita saying that it has all the solutions for all your problems, that's not wrong, it's totally correct. But how many of us can still understand the Bhagavad Gita totally into the depth of practically applying it by ourselves? Without a guru, it is difficult. Only very, I can say, probably there can be some people, I cannot say that there can be no one, but there would be very rarely, very less people, 0.001% of the whole world population, who would be actually able to understand Gita and apply, and without a guru they would be able to live happily in this material. But that will not be the case, right? Krishna himself says that we have to approach a guru. So for ultimate solution of all our material problems, it is very definite that we must approach a bona fide spiritual master. Unless and until we do not approach a bona fide spiritual master, it is very difficult, first of all, for us to understand what is the problem we are in. And the perplexities of life, the material perplexities of life, we will not be able to understand and solve them. And what do we mean by bona fide? Bona fide means that particular person, the spiritual master, he must come in the prescribed disciplic succession. That is called parampara. So there are 4 bona fide sampradayas. That this particular topic we will take in 4th chapter when we will discuss transcendental knowledge. So at that point of time we will take in detail. But for now we can understand that if the spiritual master is not in the parampara, the knowledge that we are going to get from that particular person, we are going to get cheated. So there are many gurus who are self-made gurus who are not part of any sampradayas, and we can easily see the knowledge that they are giving, that is not the ultimate knowledge. And ultimately, the follower gets cheated, and even the guru is getting cheated because he is cheating the followers, he's cheating himself of enjoying, right? Of enjoying the fame. But then he is also not going to get liberated, neither he is going to make the followers liberated. So basically, it is the connection between the cheater and the cheated, is what Prabhupada says in all his books, right? So that is why very rare to get a human body. After that, very rare to understand that we are in a situation where we need a guru. After that, it is very rare to get a guru who is part of a bona fide spiritual succession. And after that, after that, it is rare to follow the guru's instruction and perfect our life. So we must understand, out of the 2-3 rare conditions that I've discussed of human form of life, and then understanding our position, and then approaching a spiritual master, these 3 levels, if we have crossed and if we have understood that I must follow my spiritual master, then what is making us not follow? That is an important question that we must ask ourselves, right? So this is where this particular verse is where Arjuna is surrendering. And now what he's saying in 2.8. So yes, someone would like to go for reading the verse also.
I'll read, Mataji.
Sure, Mataji.
Sloka 8. Nahi prapashyami mama panudhyat yachchokamutchosanamindriyanam avapya bhuma ashapatnamritam rajyam shuranam apichvadipatyam.
Very beautiful.
Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I can find no means to drive away this grief which is drying up my senses. I will not be able to dispel it even if I win a prosperous, unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like the demigods in the heaven. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mataji. So this is how we must read your verses. Thank you so much, Mataji. I must learn reciting verses from you.
Translation
Okay.
by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I think I missed that line.
No, you said. Okay. So, so basically here he's saying that this particular grief that I am into, this is drawing up my senses. So if you remember last, in the first chapter, when we were discussing on the different signs that Arjun was getting, like he's getting trembling and his hair is standing on, and all those things were happening with him. So there are 2 points when it happens. One, it happens either in ecstasy, or the other thing is you are into a lot of material stress, right? So here again, Arjun is showing the level of grief he is experiencing. A person who is able to influence Indra and Shiva by his fighting skills, if that particular person is in such a situation that his senses are dried up and he's not able to understand what he needs to do, and in fact, if someone is ready to give him all the unrivaled kingdom on earth with sovereignty like that of demigods in heaven, then also he'll not be able to destroy this grief. So you can understand what is the level of grief Arjun was in. So this is how he's trying to give the explanation to Krishna, that I'm so much into grief that no one can actually destroy this grief, right? And I am finding no means to destroy this. And then he says that Govinda, I shall not fight. So yes, this one as well, Mataji.
May I, Mataji? Hare Krishna. Sanjaya Uvacha Evamuktva Rishikesham Gudakesham Parantapa Nayotsyo iti Govindam Uttva Tushnim Babuvaha. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Shri Mataji. So here, till now, what all happened, that Arjun and Krishna were interacting. But at the end of it, Sanjay is telling all of these things to Dhritarashtra. As we have already seen that Dhritarashtra, what would be his situation? Like, if any one of you can please answer, what Dhritarashtra must be thinking in his mind while hearing till 2.8?
he must be feeling very happy, like his kingdom will come to his sons.
Exactly. Exactly. So Sanjay knows what is going on in Dhritarashtra's mind when I'm speaking of all these statements that Arjun is making, that I am not, this grief is not going to satisfied even if I get unrivaled kingdom on earth, right? All these things when Arjun is speaking, Dhritarashtra is becoming happy that, okay, finally, this war is not going to happen and my sons will get the whole kingdom. So that is why Sanjay is speaking specific words to give an indication to Dhritarashtra that do not worry, Krishna is going to help him come out, right? So here he's saying Evam Uktva Rishikesham. So now Krishna is going to speak. And Rishikesh meaning he's the master of the senses. So he is going to direct Arjuna's senses properly. Gudakesha Parantapa. So Gudakesha we have seen that Arjuna, Gudakesha, one meaning is that one who has conquered sleep. But sleep is basically ignorance. So the Gudakesha meaning here means Arjuna, the master at curbing ignorance. So right now he might be in ignorance, but overall he is going to get out of it. And Parantapa. Parantapa means chastiser of enemies. So he's using adjectives for Krishna, he's using adjectives for Arjuna in a way to showcase that whatever you might be thinking is going to get destroyed anyhow. Then what he says, Na yodsya iti Govinda, right? Which means that Govinda, I shall not fight. Uktva tushnam bhavuvaha, which means he's just said that and he felt silent, right? Arjun said this and he felt silent. And why Govindam he said that? Because Krishna is the giver of pleasure to the cows, giver of pleasure to the senses. So overall, with this word Govinda, Arjun is trying to say that please give pleasure to me because I'm in this grief-stricken situation, right? So this is one, you can see each and every word which is used to address Krishna and Arjuna, how much meaning this is carrying. And then after this, what happens is that Krishna, because Arjuna has taken the role of a disciple, now Krishna is smiling. So if we can read this verse once, someone can please read it.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes,
Pranam.
Mataji.
Tam uvacha Rishikesh prahasan iva bharata senayorubhayor madhye vishidantam idam vachah. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O descendant of Bharata, at that time Krishna, smiling in the midst of both the armies, spoke the following words to the grief-stricken Arjuna. Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, thank you so much, Mataji. So here Krishna is smiling in the midst of the battlefield. Why? Because he's seeing that suddenly his friend has turned into his disciple. So if someone, if your friend also turns into a disciple suddenly, that I'm surrendered unto you, whatever you will say, I will follow. So there would be a slight smile that would come, right? That, arey, isko kya ho gaya? Sort of, right? So similarly, not exactly in that manner, but Krishna is smiling because his friend has turned into a disciple. And he also knows that he is going to get him out of this situation. So that is why he's smiling in midst of it. And then after this, he will start speaking. And this is very important point also, that Krishna reciprocates with us in a way we want him to reciprocate with us, right? So if I want to serve Krishna as a friend, Krishna will become my friend. So we see that there are so nice pastimes, right? That the demigods, they are offering prayers to Krishna, right? And Krishna is just hearing their prayers and he's thinking, Are these Vedas and these mantras, I do not like them so much. Huh? And then his friend comes and besides him and he keeps his hand above his shoulders and, hey, Krishna, what are they saying? In that way, right? So this shows, these type of pastime shows that how much Krishna loves these intimate relations, right? Even the most, let's say, if a person in this world, if he's the richest person, but he doesn't have father and mother, he doesn't have friends, he doesn't have truthful servants and all, right? Even if he is most rich, but still will he be happy? No. Similarly, Krishna being the Lord of all the world, Krishna being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he enjoys more ras when he has parents who are having Vatsalya rasa towards him. He is enjoying with his friends. Those friends are actually fighting with Krishna and defeating him and saying, "Arey, you are defeating Kamsa and you are defeating those Chanur and Mushtik, and even I can defeat them. If I can defeat you, then basically I can defeat them also, right?" And Krishna is getting defeated. He's enjoying because his devotee is getting pleasure. So Krishna is Rasraj, and Rasraj, he enjoys all the rasas. So that is why here when Arjun is changing the role from being a friend to becoming a disciple, Krishna is also changing his role from a friend to becoming his guru, right? And like here also, as we have discussed, that Arjun is getting confused. Why? Because of the Yogamaya potency of the lords. Unless and until the Yogamaya potency works, the Lord's pastime will not work in that way, right? As we see that someone says to Yashoda Maya that your Lala is the supreme Lord, she will not understand. She'll just forget. Even when she saw the whole universal form inside the mouth of Krishna, she just thought that there is some issue and my child must be there is some magic on my child and I must protect him, and then she'll start chanting Vishnu mantras to protect the child from all directions and all, right? So her love actually overcomes all the tattva that Krishna is. So the tattva knowledge is there, but that gets overcome because of the Yogamaya potency. So this is what is happening with Arjuna as well. He already knows that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. If you actually understand, if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, if you read Mahabharata also, you see that already the Pandavas, Kunti Maharani, they knew that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. But still their love towards him was more than considering him to be the Supreme Lord. So here again, we see that all of them are under the Yogamaya potency, so that the Lord can enjoy the rasa and the devotees can also enjoy the rasa. So till now, all the arguments of Arjuna has been done. In 2.7, the last argument was 2.6, it was indecision, right? The fifth argument. And after all these arguments are done and after Arjun has actually surrendered, now from 2.11 onwards, Krishna will start giving the knowledge. So that will all be part of one section, which is the knowledge of the soul. And that will basically 2.11 to 2.30. Krishna will try to give this knowledge in different sections. Whether you are, okay, let us consider that. Let us take that in the next section because it would take time. So we still have 7 minutes. If someone has any question that they want to ask. Let me unshare. Last class, was there any question that someone had to discuss? Okay.
Mataji, I have a question. Like, it means that originally we were, our real home is spiritual world, is it?
Spiritual world, right. Mataji.
But due to a stubborn nature, we have come here. But how do we know that? I mean, see, after coming only we know that. And
no,
also,
so basically, the scriptures are telling us that, Mataji.
Okay.
Because
According to the scriptures, okay.
yes, it's not something that we are deriving based on our knowledge or our speculation. Everything that we are understanding is based on the scriptures only.
Each one's journey, if you take, some people very young age they get into this Krishna consciousness.
Yes,
Some
because in their
people
previous life,
yeah,
in
some
their
people
previous
very
life they
late
have
also.
done.
Yeah, very late also. So how do they know? Only if we coming to know, I mean, after coming to this, we are understanding all these things, right?
So there is a verse, Mataji, which is Neha Bhikramana Shosti Pratyavayo na
Yeah,
Vidyate
next slide we
Swalpam.
carry forward the previous spiritual
Yes,
credit. Yeah, that I know,
right.
Mataji.
Yes, that is why. That is the reason they are able to come into this life. It's not like someone has to convince us very technically that you know what, you were with Krishna and you came here and that is why you are suffering and you must go back to Krishna and so on. That is not the way we are actually coming. If you see that there are so many people who just by seeing devotees chanting and dancing, they come. There are
No,
so many people who just by eating
I heard
prasadam.
in one more class, they were telling that a child is crying for ice cream, what the parents say. no, you will fall sick. I will not buy you. But the child is so adamant, stubborn. No, immediately I want it right away, So then the
Yeah, that's
parents
an
were,
analogy. That's an analogy
okay.
to make us understand that
So that
this
is
is the
true,
reason.
right?
That is true, right? That is true.
Okay.
Because of our sense enjoyment. Let's say everyone in the spiritual world is serving Krishna. Either the gopis or the parents or the friends, sakhas, everyone. They are all the time serving Krishna. It's not like serving and getting tired of it, and serving and getting like they are not getting disappointment or discouraged with that service. With each and every moment, their love is increasing, and the happiness that they are experiencing, that is increasing. Similarly, it happens with Krishna also. Krishna, his love and his happiness also keeps on increasing, and it is eternally happening. So now what happens is there are two types of souls. One is Nitya Siddha, and other is Nitya Baddha. So the Nitya Siddha devotees, like they are eternally liberated. They will never ever come down. They will never ever get that feeling of enjoying separate from Krishna. And which accounts about Yashoda Maya, Radharani, and all the other internal, which come basically part of the internal potential of the Lord. So all these devotees are never going to get this feeling of enjoying separately from Krishna. It is us who develop as in who has that feeling of it is basically, this particular topic is very broad. And if you think that if you want to actually go into the detail of it, then basically I would suggest you to actually go to a particular devotee who has done a lot of research into it. Because basically, if I try to explain, I will not be able to explain it to you in that much detail, because I myself have not done so much research. But what I've understood with all the lectures and with all the readings that I've done, that uh, basically because we wanted to enjoy ourselves, we envied Krishna, and that is why we got into this material world. And that is the basic reason you see that all the people in this world, they have this basic enjoyment propensity of enjoying ourselves. And we also have envy. We generally do not surrender so easily. Even if we surrender easily, let's say you are saying that someone might start their spiritual life from beginning and someone might come later. But even in spiritual life, you would see that you would face problems. When we are serving with devotees, if some devotees tells us something, immediately we will have, oh, who are you to tell me, right? So that particular propensity of I am right, or I-ness, that I-ness is actually keeping us here in this material world. So when we say that the false ego layer which covers our soul, that is the closest to our soul. So when we are actually wanting to go back to Krishna, that is the last layer that goes off. And that is so subtle, it generally doesn't go off so easily. False ego is the most closest to us. And we don't even know that how much we are attached to our false ego. We come to know when there is an obstruction, when someone actually creates a problem for us, right? Then we understand. Let's say if a particular person insults me in public, the real ego would say that this is how Krishna wants to purify me, and I really want to thank that person. Because of you, my false ego is getting subdued, right? But what a general person would do, even if he says this externally, let's say, if we consider that person is somewhat spiritually advanced, and if he says that externally, internally he would be thinking, "Aisa kyun bola? Why did he say this? I've done so much for him," right? So that particular, the subtleness of false ego is very, very subtle, right? So that is why when we are coming to this material world, we are coming with this baggage of enjoyment and um, envy and all those things, right? And that is, these are the anartha. And when we see the ladder of from where it starts from, so the anartha nivritti stage, that is the actual point when and after Shraddha. Just a minute, I am not able to recall. So yes, it starts from Shraddha, then Sadhu Sang, then Bhajan Kriya, then Anartha Nivritti. So that 9-step ladder of achieving Krishna Prem. So Shraddha, okay, we develop faith. Then Bhajan Kriya. So we start doing bhajan, right? Sadhu Sang. Sadhu Sang, after Sadhu Sang, we realize that we need to do bhajan. So then comes Bhajan Kriya, third. Then after Bhajan Kriya comes Anartha Nivritti. This stage is so important because these anarthas, they do not go easily. And if you actually go into the depth of it, there are devotees who have given lectures on one anarthas for classes and classes. So let's say if we just consider envy, if we just consider greed, if we just consider anger, if we just consider lust, all of these anarthas are very, very, very subtle. And to make it go away, it takes a lot of time. So by that time, this sadhana of an association of devotees and this chanting and hearing all must go on as well. This will help us to make those anartha nivritti actually happen, right? So yes, that is the thing, Mataji.
The more we are fast, the more we are advanced in spiritual, I think the more fast we will be able to come out of it,
Yes.
Mataji.
Yes, like for example, I heard it in one of the classes that let's say if I'm getting bewildered due to a particular situation. Let's say someone is angry upon me and I am getting disturbed because of it. So that is happening because I myself I'm not Krishna conscious enough. If I am very much Krishna conscious, I will not get disturbed. So this is so heavy to actually practice in your life.
Yeah.
When I heard it, I thought, yes, right.
In fact, we are following so many rules and regulations. We have not eating onion, garlic. We have given up all those things, but still that subtle traces of anger, all anarthas are there.
It will be there. Actually, those 4 regulative principles makes us human, Mataji. Those 4 regulative principles, they
That's
are
the
not
basic.
making us devotee. They are making us human. After that, all this sadhana, bhakti and bhajan and association, and by the mercy of Guru, then these anarthas will go. So if we think that I'm following these 4 regulative principles, why is this not affecting me? This one of the reason can be you are thinking that.
But Mataji, my takeaway for today's main thing will be like the fundamental identity. I really like that. Whatever we face, we should never forget that we are the, part of the Lord, right? That is what it means, right?
Correct.
We are the soul, we are the Atma, and we should not be, down, and we should not be functionally or identifying. You were telling that example.
Yes, functional identity and fundamental identity. That is most important. That is the basis of whatever we do. Correct.
Correct.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Any other question anyone is having? This is how it helps everyone, right? Just even a question, it will help me also to deepen our discussions, and it will help you all also to get into the details of everything, right? So if you have anything. Okay. Okay, so if there are no more questions, also there can be one question on the identity thing. Let's say, for example, if someone says that if all the functional identities are going to change, should we not give them any importance, right? That this can be one of the question that, let's say, if Arjun's functional identity of Kula Dharma is going to get changed, if he says that, okay, I can kill my relatives, right? So then every functional identity is less important. So should we not give them any importance? Should we not treat our family well? Should we not treat our relatives well? That can be one of the thing, right? Someone might think that, okay, if this identity is temporary, why should I give any importance to it? So that is also a wrong conception, and which will be told in detail in the coming chapters of how a spiritual person is basically because he's very much nicely situated in his fundamental identity, he's also able to work properly for his functional identities. If I am properly situated, let's say I'm a daughter-in-law. So if I totally understand that this family members is given to me by Krishna, and they are here to help me progress in spiritual life, and they are basically the reactions of my own past activities, right? In my past life, based on whatever I've done in my past life, that is the reason why I've got so and so family members. So in case if they do not support me, then also, because I am perfectly situated in my spiritual identity, fundamental identity, I will not mistreat them, or I will not have bad feelings towards them. And I will still serve them, considering my duty of serving them, right? So this is how, by properly situated in the fundamental identity, you actually also do your functional identity as well. It's not like you will ignore your functional identity and you will just give importance to your fundamental identity. okay, just let me chant and let me not serve any of my family members because I'm a soul and I must chant and I must not work on my function. That is not the case, because you understand this all these things properly in right connection, and that is why we need a guru, because guru will tell you you're going wrong, my dear friend. You're going wrong, my child.
Mataji,
That is the reason we
also
understand.
one more question, like if the parents nowadays, you know, right, Kali Yuga, everything is changed. All a nuclear family. No one is living with in-laws. Very few. Very, very few. You can count hardly. So in that case, when they themselves want to be isolated, you know, they don't want to depend on their children. In that case, does it come under this bondage? No, right? Only if they want to be served and we are not doing it, it is a sin,
So-
right? It means
So Mataji, these situation based questions, right? It is best answered when we are with a person, with a devotee who has actually seen us, right, through the years. So let's say that is the reason why we have counselors and all those Anugatya system in ISKCON, right? That a person who has seen you through the years, who knows our particular nature, and who has also like he knows the basic way of how we are living, how we are serious in our sadhana and all those things, then such type of devotees can actually give answer to these situation based questions of what if these people are like this and I am like that, and what should I act and all those things. It is basically best understood under such a person. Yes. I can see Shri Priya Mataji, you have a question.
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. Just a small doubt. Usually when Sanjaya speaks, we say Sanjaya Uvacha. When Arjuna speaks, we say Arjuna Uvacha. So when Krishna speaks, in the next word, he says Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, not Krishna Uvacha or Govinda Uvacha. So can you just highlight on that?
Shri Bhagwan, yes, this we discussed in the last class, Mataji. You can also see the PPT that why Shri Bhagwan Uvacha. So there, if you see the purport, Prabhupada is giving that Bhagwan, this word Bhagwan, Rupa Goswami gives the meaning of the word Bhagwan. So it means one who possesses 6 opulences in full. So all the 6 opulences of fame, beauty, all those things, right? Renunciation. So one who has all these opulences in full, that particular person can only be called as Bhagwan. And in that manner, only Krishna is basically the Supreme Lord, right? He is only the one who can be referred to as Bhagwan. No other demigod, no other Devi Devta, no one else can be referred to as Bhagwan because of this one quality of having possessing all the opulences in full. So that is why you would be able to see that slide in the last PPT, if you can see that this has been covered, that why only Krishna has been referred to as Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, right?
So the 6 opulence have to be, like we have to keep on thinking and meditating on the 6 opulence. So it has been used like that. We take it
So
like that?
see, like if we see, so first of all, there are the list of 6 opulences. One is beauty. So if we see, Krishna is the most attractive. No one in the whole world is as attractive, as beautiful as Krishna, right? Next comes fame. So even after 5,000 years of Krishna's disappearance, we are still talking about what he speaks in Bhagavad Gita. What are his activities in Srimad Bhagavatam? When he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we have scriptures and scriptures like Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mangal, so many things. So a person whose activities are discussed so much even after his disappearance, you can understand the fame of such a person, right? Then comes, what are the other? Renunciation. So we last class we have also discussed on how renunciation is one of the topmost of all the opulences, because renunciation is after having everything, you are still ready to let it go immediately without a second thought. So that is the renunciation of Krishna. Then what are the other two? I'm forgetting.
All
Fame,
rich,
Wealth,
all
wealth,
rich
Mataji,
and
wealth.
all wealth, all wealth. He is the most richest person, right? He is Lakshmi Pati. So we might have some Lakshmi, and that is also temporary. It would be for some years, it would be taken away. But Krishna is Lakshmi Pati. He has all the wealth of all the worlds, right? So he's the richest person. And then one more was
all knowledge.
all knowledge. Vedescha sarve aham eva vedyo. I am the compiler of the Vedas. From all the Vedas, I am to be known. So he is saying that he is the origin of all the knowledge. In fact, even in Brahma Samhita, so Brahmaji is also he's saying that he's the cause of all causes, right? He's a knower of everything. So basically, in all the fields, in this material world also, if a person has even one opulence, not in full, not in full. Let's say if a person is the richest, He might have, let's say, billions and billions of dollars, but he's still poor to a demigod, right? He would be poorer to compared to Kuber, right? And what is Kuber in front of Krishna? Kuber is nothing in front of Krishna, right? Similarly, so even if someone has one particular quality, he becomes attractive. So many people would be following Ambani, so many people would be following Elon Musk, and so many people, right? Because why? Because they are rich. So they become attractive by this opulence of richness. So Krishna is having all these opulences, not just only beauty, not just only wealth. He's having everything, and that too in full. So that is why he is the most attractive. And the word Krishna means most attractive. So his name and his activities are non-different. He is having all the opulences in full, and that is why he is referred to as Bhagwan, and he is the supreme personality of Godhead, right? So that is how Krishna's supremacy is been established by this word of Sri Bhagwan Uvacha. And if you also read the introduction of Prabhupada for Bhagavad Gita, he says that even if someone, let's say, doesn't acknowledge, doesn't know about Krishna, or Bhagavad Gita, let's say, very new for him, just to understand Bhagavad Gita, he should theoretically accept Krishna as the supreme personality of God. Let's say we have in our maths textbook, right? Let us assume, and then we'll assume something, and then we'll do LHS equal to RHS. So first, initially we are assuming something, then we are trying to establish it, right? Similarly, here you assume that Krishna is a supreme Lord, and then when you try to understand Gita, then you would be able to understand that how he is the supreme Lord. And in the coming chapters, we will see that in chapter 7, chapter 10, Krishna
Mataji,
clearly
what is the
tells.
homework for this next week?
Okay, so first of all, are you all reading the purports of Prabhupada
Yes,
for all
yes.
the verses that we are covering?
After you told me, I read the 3
Yes,
purports.
Mataji.
Yes, but Mataji, you must read all the purports. Because let's say the question that Shri Priya Mataji just asked, right? So Shri Priya Mataji, when you go into the purport of this particular verse of Sri Bhagwan Uvacha, you will see how many references Prabhupada has given. Srimad Bhagavatam reference, Bhagavad Gita reference, Brahma Samhita reference. So many references Prabhupada has given just to establish this Sri Bhagwan Uvacha. So
Yes, Mataji.
when we read the
I'll read
purport,
it.
we understand the things in a lot of detail. And Prabhupada has given so much for us, right? We must be,
Thank you
it
so
is
much.
our basically duty to read the purports for Prabhupada's pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for
Yes,
clarification.
thank you so much. Just one more point I want to add, that Bhagavad Gita, everything in spiritual life is a person. It's not something which cannot reciprocate with you. So when we consider Bhagavad Gita as a person, it is Krishna's words. Krishna's words are not having less potency than Krishna. They are equal, right? It's Krishna's words and Krishna is not different. So when we want to understand Bhagavad Gita actually, and when we pray that you are the words of directly been coming out from the Lord's lotus mouth, I really want to understand. I really want to understand these transcendental words, this transcendental knowledge. Please bless me, right? Please bless me, Prabhupada, that I am able to understand your purpose. Please bless me, Lord Krishna, that I'm able to understand your Vani. So when we pray to Bhagavad Gita before actually studying the purpose, you would see a lot of difference in the realization of the purpose. So it's a person, right? It is not someone impersonal. Our bhakti is not impersonal. It is totally personal. So the more you pray, the more you feel the reciprocation. Okay. Yes, that is all I wanted to say. I am very, very grateful. I'm very, very thankful to all of you. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for giving me a chance to serve. Vansha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Mataji. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.